I was hoping that you could tell me about why you've chosen Senator Santorum as the person that you're going to make, your plight against.
It's not so much that I chose Senator Santorum as the person that I want to fight against, as it is that Senator Santorum chose me. Senator Santorum has a problem with sexual minorities of whatever stripe, including heterosexual sexual minorities. And he has, from his perch in the Senate, waged a rhetorical war against gays and lesbians, and we have returned fire. And that is why, that's where the Santorum campaign came from. That's why I'm here raising money for Philadelphians Against Santorum to help them defeat the bastard.
And I was wondering, do you have any opinions of Bob Casey?
Well, yeah, I do. Bob Casey isn't perfect on a lot of issues that Santorum isn't perfect on. Bob Casey is more perfect. Bob Casey is also... it's also not entirely about Bob Casey. When you're talking about the Senate, which party controls the Senate is really important. And if the Democrats control the Senate, in part because Casey is there, it's going to empower a lot of Democratic politicians who I agree with more than I agree with Casey on issues like choice and gay marriage and other social value issues. So I'm excited about electing Casey because I'm excited about Patrick Leahy being the head of the Judiciary Committee. I'm excited about electing Casey because I'm excited about Hillary Clinton having more power than she does now. I'm excited about electing Casey because I want Charles Schumer to have more power than he does now. It's not all about one person when you're talking about the Senate. It's not just like, would Casey be great on all my issues or not? No, he won't be great on all my issues, but electing Casey means a lot of people who are great on my issues will have more power and influence than they do now.
So are you anti-Santorum? You're not pro-Casey?
I'm anti-Santorum and pro-Casey. I'm pro-Casey because electing Casey will be good for the Democrats and good for the country. Electing Casey doesn't mean, and being pro-Casey doesn't mean I agree with everything that comes out of Casey's mouth. I don't agree with everything that comes out of my mouth. But you have to be a pragmatist about these things. Lefties do idiotic things like vote for Nader because it feels good. And in the short run, it may feel good and be gratifying, but in the long run, it's been a disaster. And not voting for Casey because you're going to pout because he's not good on your issues means returning Santorum to the Senate, and he's worse on your issues. And if returning Santorum to the Senate means that the Republicans maintain control of the Senate, that's going to be terrible for your issues. So you have to be rational about these choices.
Are you familiar with Carl Romanelli at all?
The idiot green?
Yes.
Yes.
Can we talk about your opinions of Carl Romanelli?
Carl Romanelli should be dragged behind a pickup truck until there's nothing left but the rope. Carl Romanelli is the Green Party and its supporters are tools and fools for the Republicans and the radical right. Santorum entirely funded Romanelli's effort to get on the ballot to drain votes from Casey. The Green Party in Pennsylvania is a wholly owned subsidiary of the Republican Party. Any progressive who votes for a Green anymore after Nader and now after Romanelli is a fucking idiot and should be beaten with sticks. And Romanelli is scum.
And so what, even though Romanelli is the only pro-gay rights,
I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. Romanelli may want to like rim my ass 3 times a week. That doesn't make him better for me, and it doesn't make his presence on the ballot better for me than a Casey victory. Romanelli has no fucking chance. Romanelli's only chance is draining votes from Casey. A pro-gay rights candidate is not going to take votes from Santorum, and Santorum knows it, which is why Santorum tried to get Romanelli on the ballot.
So, what advice do you have for Mr. Romanelli?
Mr. Romanelli can go fuck himself. That's my advice for Mr. Romanelli.
And should he try to wage a write-in campaign?
No, Mr. Romanelli should go fuck himself, which means he's going to be too busy fucking himself to wage a write-in campaign or do anything else.
And so you see no hope for third parties in America?
We don't have the luxury of a third-party movement in America right now. The stakes are too high and the situation is too dire with the country and where the Republicans are taking it. And if Democrats have no power in D.C. because a bunch of idiot lefties are voting their hearts on idiots like Romanelli and idiots like Ralph Nader, then we deserve the end of our democracy. We deserve everything we're getting right now from the Bush administration and its enablers in the Congress.
That was fantastic. No, you were providing me with like the best material I think I've had in any interview.
Wrap up, Stephen.
Okay, so can you give me like your closing words? What do you have to say about Santorum, Casey, and Romanelli all rolled into one, if possible?
If they all rolled into one?
Say about the election. You know, just your words. Casey, Romanelli, Santorum. Just what do you have to say?
The whole country is watching this race and the whole country has a right to watch this race and be invested in this race because we all have to live with the idiocy that Santorum inflicts on the country. Every senator has an influence in every state. And it's a tragedy for the whole country that Pennsylvania has sent this asshole to the Senate as many times as it has. And Pennsylvania has a responsibility and a duty to pull that asshole out of the Senate this year.
And so what if Carl Romanelli does win his final appeal and gets back on the ballot?
Stephen, we got to wrap up.
If Carl Romanelli wins and gets back on the ballot, someone should run him over with a truck to pull